This episode of Express Training Bites is brought to you by Promo Corner. Are you looking to support a sales campaign and reach a larger audience? Raise your brand awareness with content sponsorships. For more information, reach out to sales@promocorner.com. This is Express Training Bites. I am Brandon Petrich, and joining me today is Brent. Oh man, and I asked him how to say his last name, and I almost just said it wrong again. E. Lenowitz with Lincoln Line, and he is going to be talking to us today about his experience in promotional products and the cannabis industry. So, Brent, take it away, man.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. And as Brandon mentioned, we have a very special show where I can give you the rundown of how the cannabis industry is infiltrating the promotional market. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I had the option to develop cannabis accessory and packaging line for Lincoln Line. We were a little premature before legalization really hit, and we definitely hit some bumps in the road in terms of the reception of the industry and certain people around the country. But through the thick and the thin, we were able to create this amazing line, and today we have one of the leading lines in the industry. As you can see here, these are some of the products that we offer. Everything from the barrier bags that are smell-proof and child-resistant to rolling trays, ashtrays, rolling papers, grinders, concentrate containers, pre-roll tubes, glass jars, etc. So, it took us some time to really develop this line and get it well-rounded. One thing that we really noticed was that this industry was interested in quality. And, it's not really the average type of product that's in the promotional industry for giveaway, but with the cannabis industry, everyone is all about wellness and, top-notch quality. So based on what we learned from our research, we developed a line that had, all great around price point and also quality products. At first, like I said, it was a bumpy road. I mean, there are a lot of different demographics around the country, and not everyone was as open-minded to the whole cannabis movement as we were, and some other states around the country. We started doing email blasts, and some people were really about it. This is a new market, new industry, hasn't really existed ever before in the promotional industry. And so, we had some good feedback, but then we did definitely have some negative feedback. We would send out a flyer for rolling papers, and we would get a response from someone asking us if, we were going to try to sell them syringes next, or, a bag of snack. And, obviously this is a little outlandish, but, the point of me touching upon it is not everyone is fully on board with this just yet. With that being said, I personally don't believe cannabis is really a harmful consumer, drug in a sense, not in the sense of narcotic, but, it is a medicinal drug that doctors do prescribe to patients that are severely ill and that, need something other than, pills to kind of get by and help them, something a little more natural and organic. So, we really do believe in what we're doing. And obviously, as you know, over time, this country has really changed course on how they view cannabis, and they're going more in the direction of accepting it rather than, looking down upon it. And, we're trying to kind of break that voodoo stigma that exists. So just to give you some stats, a couple years ago, 2019, the cannabis industry was valued at $13 billion. A year later, 2020, it reached $18 billion. Through the pandemic, that was kind of the catalyst of the industry, and it jumped to $26 billion, which is kind of what's projected for this year. Next year, they're projecting $30 billion. So, this is pretty big value for an industry that isn't completely legal yet. Just to give you some stats on what is legal and what's not in terms of the state legislation, right now, 10% of the states in the US deem it to be completely illegal. 36% are recognizing recreational cannabis, which means you could go into a store like you would a liquor store, and if you have a license, you could purchase cannabis as long as you're 21 and older. 86% of the country recognizes it as medicinal, which means you can get prescribed by a doctor a cannabis prescription, and you're able to go to these these medicinal dispensaries. And then 90% of the company deems it as decriminalized. So, it's a lot of progress, but still, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, this is it's projected to be a $30 billion industry, and it's not even completely federally legal. So it just kind of gives you an idea of the potential that this industry has, and where it could go. Um, as I mentioned, we do carry all the really high quality products because that's really what they want. A lot of people want sustainability, biodegradable products in this industry. Child resistant is a big thing as well. As it becomes more and more prevalent, you got to keep in mind that you don't want someone to get involved, into a product or a flower or an edible that shouldn't be. So, child resistant and the regulation behind that is a big part of this industry. So that's why we kind of make sure all of our packaging does include that aspect and factor. Um, in addition to that, I think right now the sky's the limit. We've like I said, we've been in this industry and building this line for the past 5 years. There's been a lot of progress within the past couple of years. As legislation has been passing from state to state, and more states have been legalized. Um, the way I see it is, obviously people look at it as wacky tobacco, but in my opinion, there are drinkers and there are smokers, and some people like to go home and, have a glass of whiskey after a long day, or, drink a beer, and others like to, smoke a joint or smoke a bowl. So, if you compare the two, I personally prefer smoking over drinking. I think your body feels better from it. You don't act reckless. You won't really forget what happened the next day. And to me personally, those are just the upside of smoking versus drinking. Um, but other than that, I am interested in hearing what you guys think about the industry, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer whatever it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is and Brent, thank you so much for coming on and doing this, because it is one of those things right now where people are kind of wondering what it is, right? It's
Right.
not quite legal. It is legal some places. It's decriminalized. Does that mean it's legal? Like it's a very muddy water right now. And I wanted to bring you on because it is something that is growing, and our industry can be ahead of it or with it as it's growing as well. You talked about one thing that I think is really awesome: child proof products. That
Yeah.
is really cool. I didn't even think about that.
hmm So yeah, that's really important, because there have been horror stories where, a lot of the edible side of the industry, a lot of them are candy. I mean, they resemble Reese's, Skittles, you name it, gummies. Those are the most popular. So any child that would see that might get into it, and bad news bears. So
Yeah.
child resistant packaging is very important. Almost all state uh, legislation requires it, and regulation is very tight with child resistant packaging. So that's something that we really did focus on. And yeah, God forbid anything like that
Yeah.
will.
And so we talked a little bit before, but I kind of want you to tell our viewers too, is there, that $30 billion valuation is not just the sale of the cannabis. It's all of the products and all of the tech and everything that goes along with it too. And when we sell promotional products, we're not just selling promotional products just to the dispensaries. So what are some other industries that are you kind of see are jumping on this train and are using cannabis style products for their promotions?
Right. So surprisingly, the music industry is actually huge on this kind of stuff. I mean, we've done everything from country artists to hip hop artists to reggae, obviously. And it's all unique type of accessories. I mean, rolling trays, grinders, pre-roll tubes, rolling papers. I haven't really. I went to a concert once that an alternative rock band, Cage the Elephant, customized grinders. It was the same type of product that we carry, and that was really cool to see in person. It was just at their merch tent, and it was like you see T-shirts, you see pins, you see the typical things that you see, and then there's a grinder. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, I have to buy one. And it's just cool to see how that's being implemented into every industry. And another thing that we touched upon was the fact that this is the first time prohibition is existing, you know, for most of us. And not only that, but kind of for the promotional industry, like back when prohibition happened with alcohol, the promotional industry wasn't really as large as it is today. And the fact that we are experiencing a whole new market is just an exceptional opportunity. I mean, this has never happened before. This will break the norm of having to sell click pens, selling sunglasses, selling beach balls, you name it, water bottles. I mean, these things are all great, and we do very well with them, but like, this is fun, different stuff, that you won't really experience at any other time. And it's just kind of creating the perfect storm right now that we were lucky enough to kind of be in the middle of. And our goal is just educate everyone involved and the distributors as much as possible as to what the potential is, and about the industry in general, because it's all just like-minded, friendly users, business owners, and workers who just are very happy, very open-minded, and very passionate and driven about what's going on. And a lot of them have been hustling for a while and had to be underground, and didn't really get the opportunity that they deserved, and which is unfortunate, but it's finally happening. So it really is a great industry to be a part of. And it's always a great time whenever you interact with people within this community.
That is awesome, man. And
Yeah.
you talked about education and kind of keeping distributors informed. Can you tell me, are you the creator? Did you help create the cannabis packaging Facebook group? Can you tell me a little bit about like what you guys do there and what that group is all about?
Yes, so no, my sister created that actually. I consulted her on certain things, and she does, definitely ask some questions about it. So we just kind of try to, inform everyone on what the hottest or newest thing is going on based on the research that we learn and the feedback we get from our clients. I try to do my own research myself with the community, but a lot of what we learn are through the orders that are placed, and the our clients and what they're looking for, what their clients are looking for, because we deal with distributors, obviously, so we don't get to really hear the feedback from the dispensaries, or the cultivators, or the processors, or the smoke shops. So and those are also different businesses within the industry that I like to touch upon, that are great targets. It's not just a dispensary or a storefront. There's cultivators, which are otherwise known as growers. There's processors who are extractors, and they make concentrates such as vape pens, or hash, or rosin, wax concentrates. And then there's a dispensary that is kind of the retail establishments. There's also distributors and wholesalers that have multiple product lines. There's the smoke shops. And then, in addition to what other industries are involved, the tattoo industry is very big involved with cannabis. And, hopefully we'll see more and more markets hop on board and become involved.
And
So,
I think we will. I mean, like you
yeah,
said, that we're in the early days of this. The past couple of weeks, we've had a lady coming on and talking about cryptocurrency and blockchaining. I mean,
yeah,
that's another industry that is still fairly early days, and it's going through the same process that the cannabis industry is. And I think both of those will trend themselves into the promotional products industry. So I felt like this is perfect, and I really appreciate you guys putting together that group. And Jessica Onions at Promo Corner has been fantastic in watching, and she did link the Facebook group into the chat. So if anybody is wondering what group we're talking about, it's right there in the chat. Just go ahead and click on it after this and go in there and see all the amazing information that they are putting out up there. And speaking of Jessica, she did put in something here when we were talking about the child proofing and stuff. She says, I remember going to the pharmacy with my parents when I was little, and they had a poster that showed how similar uh prescription medication looked like candy. So we needed to be responsible with where we store our prescription meds. It's great to see this industry taking the same precautions with the child-proof and safety. That's just, I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? I mean, this is one of those things where This is like you said, it isn't just wacky tobacco. It's not just Willie Nelson on the back of his tour bus. This is an actual industry that is becoming legal and growing. Um, that is really cool. Hey, so I like this. I wanted to. I know I told you I was going to ask you this. What is one of the best promotions? You talked about the cage to the elephant grinder, but what's one of the best promotions you guys have done so far that you're like, whoa, that is awesome. That's a great way that they used these products.
Yeah. Like in terms of like an order that we got for a
Yeah.
specific plant. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so we recently, let me think about it. We recently just got an order last week. This hip hop artist, his name's Ray Sherman or something like that.
Yep.
And he ordered a set, almost like a smoker's kit. So it was a grinder, a pack of papers, and a pre-roll tube. And basically, we also offer like a zipper bag to put a little kit. So it's almost like a travel like all-in-one kit. So it's perfect for that industry because like if you want to go to a concert, you want to go somewhere, you put everything in this pack and then you're just good to go. And no matter where you are, a lot of places it's okay to kind of pull it out and roll it up now. So it's just the perfect thing to have at a concert. And that was cool because I could, I've had that experience before personally. So, it seems like that was a great idea on their part.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah,
And I can't ask the good question without following up with the bad one. Now, you did
yeah,
mention it a little bit, and we mentioned it in kind of the discovery phone conversation too. But
yeah,
you do get those people that will say those snapback comments like, "Oh, cool. So you sent me a flyer on rolling papers. When are you sending me a syringe next?"
yeah.
How do you overcome those type of comments, or do you just kind of move on from them?
So, it hasn't really happened too much lately. I mean, now at most people will be like, please just remove me from my list. I don't really like, uh, condone or, what really get involved in this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But they're actually like polite about it now. Like they're kind of like, I understand the whole thing, and they're like more on board now that it's becoming a nationwide thing essentially. But they'll just politely ask us to remove them from our list. But back in the day, when I first started this line, my company was definitely taking a chance on it, and
Yeah.
the amount of time I was spending on it. So when we got those responses, it was demoralizing. I mean, it was tough, and like I'd like to brush them off sometimes, but then you would just hear such outlandish things sometimes, and it would be hard to kind of not try to, I don't want to say educate or like, change this person's mindset, but like I almost wanted to kind of give them my input and my experience
Mhm.
and just like let them know that I don't condone drug use, and I'm not, I think addiction is a terrible disease, and like, I don't see cannabis causing that type of affliction. But in the end, not everyone's going to agree with it. I mean, we live
Right.
in a huge country, crazy demographic, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to agree on it, and going into it, you kind of have to have that mindset. I mean, everyone will have their own perspective on things, so it is what it is. Hopefully over time, they'll come to realize that we aren't drug users and we're not crackheads. But essentially, everyone has their own opinion, so you're always going to have those bad, select few bad eggs. But that's what they believe in, and that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
100%, man.
So,
Like
yeah,
said, we're such a diverse country,
mm,
all walks of life, and everybody is here. And
yeah,
I mean, the same amount of people that call it the devil's lettuce are the same people that think
totally.
that whiskey and wine is horrible too. So it's just you're not going to be able to get everybody, but the awesome part is as this becomes more legal, this industry is just going to continue to grow, and it's going to be continue to be an avenue that distributors can actually go and sell promotional products. So I appreciate you taking your time out today, Brent, man. This is a very early days in this. I hope we can bring you back on as more states become legal,
Yeah,
and as this industry just continues to grow and you get more competition, because I think there's very few suppliers out there that are offering any type of product that is along this industry. So
yeah.
congratulations on being one of the first, man.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of the big suppliers are actually they're not allowed to touch it due to financial reasons. They have, boards that won't accept that. And
Mhm.
that's what we kind of run into, or even bigger distributors as well. So with that being said, I mean, if you have the opportunity to hop on it, it's not too late. I mean, you're still a pioneer. Like, it's going to be a while until this becomes federally legal. So,
Yeah.
I can't stress enough. I mean, the opportunity is endless. And, I'm fully hands-on with anyone who wants to learn more about it and needs any consulting, advice, or direction. I just want to support the industry myself, not just the promotional industry, but the cannabis in general. I'm very
Yeah.
passionate about it. I'm very involved. And, any opportunity I have to, or someone to be open-minded is just, I'm just grateful for it. I mean, like I said, going from, asking if I'm selling syringes to people now, we send out daily blasts that we have a special exclusive list for. And, people will respond now saying like, oh, please, send me whatever sales tools you have, will you hop on a phone call with me, like send me any samples you have, let me know some direction. And, I couldn't be more grateful to have this opportunity. So, I'm just blessed to be in this position, and the sky's the limit at this point.
That is awesome. You
Yeah.
guys, we linked the Facebook group that his sister created and he's a very big part of. And Brent, how else can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you and actually have a one-on-one conversation and maybe get a little more information? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you could reach my email directly. It's info@lincolnline.com. I work all hours, so no matter what time it is, even though that's 5 p.m. Eastern time, I will get back to you before the night ends. Again, we are a family-owned and operated company, so we take a lot of pride in our service, and we think that's the most important thing for this industry now, especially with the big companies scaling and becoming conglomerates and eating up all these other companies.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
service is everything, and especially half the time you call a company, you don't even know who you're talking to. You don't even know if they're in this country. So, we're here. We're here to support whoever, anyone who wants to learn more about it and become involved.
That is fantastic. You
Yeah.
guys heard it here first. Brent, thank you again. Lincoln Line, they're out there. You guys go out there, get all the information that you can, jump on this train. This is going to be something that is growing. It is there now. It is going to continue to get bigger. Like you heard him at the beginning, there's a massive percentage of the country that has decriminalized it. That's the first step in the right direction. And it's just going to continue to get better and better from here on out. But that is going to do it for Express Training Bites on the new day, the Tuesdays, the first and the third Tuesdays of every month.